Hi! What is bone broth and why should you drink it? That's what we're talking about today. My name is Avi Green. I am a healthy gourmet chef and I help my fellow mamas learn how to meal prep healthy gourmet food that helps them lose weight, it helps them maintain a healthy weight, helps them gain energy, it helps them save time, all without ever eating boring ass diet food. And it helps them teach their children how to love healthy gourmet food as well. I'm gonna go to my spot. We're gonna talk about this. You're gonna get some good food for thought. Hold on. All right. I am Avi Green, the bone broth queen. My friends will sometimes call me that because I am constantly cooking huge batches of bone broth and talking about bone broth and the benefits of it. Most likely you've heard of bone broth by now. It's become pretty mainstream in the marketplace, but only in the last 5 years has it become an actual food product that we find at the grocery store. But interestingly enough, it is an ancient food. It's probably the most ancient food. As soon as humans started cooking food with fire, they were cooking bone broth, right? Because basically this is what bone broth is. It's the long time simmering of bones, animal bones. Any animal bones can make bone broth with water. And so think about it. There is goodness in bones. Of course, animal bones are the same makeup as what our bones are made up of, different minerals, but we're not going to be chewing on a bone. It's too hard, right? So when you simmer bones in water for a long period of time, they start to break down. The goodness that's in those bones gets into the broth. And so now we're giving ourselves some awesome benefits of drinking the broth that has the minerals that supports our bones and supports our skin, our hair, our nails, our teeth, right? Then, if you have bones that have flesh still on them, which usually they do, you're getting the benefits of that as well. The protein, the amino acids, the collagen, and so now we're also supporting our joints and our guts. And so bone broth by itself, just the bones simmered in water a long time, is a powerful food as medicine type of food. Then what happens when we boost it? The way I boost my bone broth, and I'm going to show you how I make my bone broth so that you can make your own. And we're going to specifically talk about certain ingredients that have amazing health benefits. At the same time, I'm prepping my next batch of bone broth, which is going to be 33 quarts of bone broth. I'm also going to be making my break the fast, my breakfast, my first meal of the day, even though it's lunchtime, which is going to be chicken soup. And so most of what you see before you it's going to go in both. But one thing that's not is the potato, and so I'm going to put the potato, I'm going to get the potato simmering. Right now what I have in here is my own organic chicken bone broth, which I call liquid gold because of what I do to it. And it's simmering, and I'm going to be adding some other vegetables just to boost the flavor, to boost the nutrients, get my fiber, fill me up. So now that I got this in here, now, one thing I want to share with you, as you can see, I just used a whole potato with the skin on. Oftentimes, we tend to peel the skin off of things like potatoes, carrots. We don't typically use the skin of onions. I'm here to tell you that if you are interested in getting the most benefits from your food, and you think that food is medicine, which it absolutely can be, use the skin. In most cases, the skin has many of the same benefits as the flesh, and sometimes it has other additional benefits. For instance, onion skin, as you can see, I'm using the whole entire thing. Onion skin, there's even a grandma's kind of tea, medicine type of recipe of onion skin tea, just onion skins simmered in tea. And the reason why that is, it's ancient wisdom. The reason why that is because a lot of the benefits that are in onions are in the skin, but additionally there's a powerful anti-inflammatory called quercetin, and that is in both onions and garlic. So we use the skin of the onions as well as the flesh. I'm putting 2 cloves of garlic, or 2 bowls, I'm sorry, not cloves, bowls of garlic in my bone broth, but I'm also going to put some fresh garlic in my soup. So I just took half of a bowl out of there, Okay, so about onions and garlic. Onions and garlic have some very powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Garlic specifically is antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, all the antis, antiseptic. It has an anti-cancer component to it. And so all of the good antis garlic has. Garlic is one of those foods that is so powerful in those in the properties that it possesses that it can be considered medicine. Now, have you heard the saying food is medicine? That comes from an ancient saying that is typically ascribed to, I think, Hippocrates. So it's a very ancient expression, food is medicine. But you know what is even more accurate to say is that food is information. Because some foods are not medicine, are they? If we eat a certain way, we could be actually harming ourselves. But food is definitely always information. So depending on the selections that we make in our foods is going to make a difference in how our bodies receive it, how our cells respond, how our organs respond, even how our genes express themselves can be affected by the foods that we select. Now, obviously, we can't always be eating healthy food all the time. We like to play, we like to go out, we like to have a good time, we like to celebrate. And so we need to be realistic, right? But when we're at home, we want to, as much as possible, eat super healthy foods, okay? So next we're moving on to ginger. Again, just like garlic, it has so many amazing anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. So I use fresh ginger in my bone broth. And another well-researched, so ginger, garlic, onions, turmeric, boosted by black pepper. These things have been so widely researched on the benefits that they have for us to be eating. And they're things that are so potent that, again, they can be called medicine. They're medicinal foods. And so we like to call that a superfood. So I put lots of superfoods in my bone broth. This beautiful root is called turmeric. You've heard of it before, I'm sure. If you've ever heard of golden milk tea, it's made with turmeric. Its color comes from turmeric. I use fresh turmeric in my bone broth, and the benefits of turmeric are astounding how good it is for you. However, to make it the most bioavailable, we have to add black pepper. So piperine is the main component of black pepper, and that makes turmeric 2,000 times more bioavailable. So if you're gonna eat turmeric, make sure you're eating it with black pepper. Let's put some black pepper in our soup. Okay, so again, lemon, and also widely studied. I'm going to use a whole lemon in my bone broth. Now, when you think about lemon skin, it's bitter, right? That bitterness does not come through in the broth because I'm making such a huge volume. I encourage you not to use the same amounts that I'm using if you're making your own bone broth, because most likely you don't have a 40-quart pot at home. But the benefits, there's lots of benefits in lemon juice, of course, but even more so in the skin. In the skin is where the essential oil is found. And the essential oil limonene is connected to anti-cancer properties. And so we use the entire thing. The skin itself is not that bitter. It's actually in between the flesh and the skin, the pith, that is bitter. So when you're cooking, use lemon zest as much as possible, because again, that has an anti-cancer property in the essential oil of the lemon zest. And it also has an antidepressant, natural antidepressant in citrus skin. So food can be medicine, can't it? We're using green peppers. So green peppers are very high in vitamin C. Of course, we talked about did we talk about root to stem cooking? Basically, it's the idea that comes from just old farming communities where we don't waste anything. Root to stem, meaning you use the whole thing, like we do with the onions and the garlic. That is not so when it comes to peppers. When I cook with peppers, I always cut around the seeds, remove the seeds. The seeds of peppers, any peppers, can actually be very upsetting to your stomach. That's because the seeds have a component on them that is meant to protect them so that they can reproduce. And so it can be a type of a toxin in the system, upsetting the stomach. So we don't use the seeds, but we use the bell pepper. One green bell pepper has 169% of the daily recommended intake that we need of vitamin C. Is that awesome? So we have so far in here, this is looking great. I also use 2 whole organic chickens. So we come up with a very delicious, meaty, flavored bone broth. People have said my bone broth tastes like chicken noodle soup. So I'm using fresh parsley, tons of antioxidants in fresh herbs, including parsley. I'm gonna cut some up for my soup and I'm gonna add that at the end because I love the flavor. I have a zucchini in front of me, I'll wait for that. That's gonna go in my soup, not my broth. Carrots. So all of these individual ingredients have amazing properties. Vitamins, beta carotene, vitamins A, vitamins K, vitamins C. You know, lemon has a detoxifying effect on the body. So all of this stuff, we could definitely say food is medicine. And it's flavoring, but it's also healthy, beneficial. We don't skin the carrot. Again, we use the skin. Some of this carrot is gonna go in my soup. Okay, so think about this. You guys have heard these words before a lot. Antioxidant or anti-inflammatory. And when you think about those 2 words that you might hear a lot, you're going to hear me say it a lot, think this. When we talk about anti-inflammatory, inflammation is something that is a big factor in disease. Typically, it starts in the gut. And so when we hear anti-inflammatory about foods, we want to think gut health. Oxidization is the aging process. So when we hear antioxidant, then think anti-aging. Most, if not all, plant foods, that was parsnip, by the way. Most, if not all, plant foods have a high antioxidant component. And so eating more plants means reversing or slowing down the aging process. Okay, we're putting fresh celery. We're going to put that in both our soup as well as our broth. This stuff, of course, I've washed all this stuff beforehand. But I like to use the heart of the celery for soups because those leaves are more tender. And so I'm going to use the heart in my soup and I'm using the rest in my broth. Celery has a really wonderful cleansing effect on the body. And we're going to put some more in our broth. All right. We're almost there, you guys. Himalayan pink salt, 84 trace minerals. We got about half a cup here. That goes in there. Seems like a lot. It's not, because this is 40 quarts of liquid that we're going to get out of here. And lastly, we put cabbage, which is such a simple, humble food, but it is also a superfood. There are such awesome components in cabbage. It is part of the cruciferous vegetable family, and in it goes, and it's going to go in our soup as well. The last thing we're going to put in the soup is some zucchini. You guys can use the stuff that you have in your fridge. You don't have to follow any certain recipe. Use what you have left over in your fridge. I wanted to put some green beans in here, but I didn't have them, but I had zucchini. So I'm going to put some delicious zucchini in my soup. All right. And that's what we have here. So I love to teach you guys, give you some food for thought. Think about this. Bone broth, not all bone broths are created equal. Okay, there's the bone broth you can find at the grocery store, and I am of the belief that what Michael Pollan says, he's a prolific food writer and educator, and what Michael Pollan says, one of the sayings he says is, if it comes from a plant, eat it. If it's made in a plant, don't. So think about this. The stuff that's at the grocery store lining the shelves, those things are made in massive food plants. There's a lot that can go wrong in that process, and I don't want to gross you out or anything, but besides that, think about the fact that a food company, a big food company, their only concern is the bottom line, right? They want to make as much money possible and save on costs. So ingredients are subpar. If you're buying from a grocery store, from a big food company, you're gonna know that the ingredients are subpar because that's the cheapest they could get. As opposed to going to the farmer's market, shaking the hand of the person that farmed that food and buying that food, you're gonna get the nutrients from your food that is how it's meant to be, right? That's the food is medicine. A lot of times we turn to supplements because we're being told that the food that we are getting at the grocery store is not as high in nutrients as it used to be. And that is true when it's grown in a gigantic farm where they're just turning it over and not letting the soil regenerate and not feeding the plants. But when you buy it from the farmer's market, now we've added our parsley, local farmer's market, then you are getting your supplements from your food. And when you get your supplements from your food, that is called bioavailable. That's how our body is meant to receive those ingredients, right? That's how our body is meant to receive the goodness that can be had from food, the antioxidants, the vitamins, and the minerals. This is very beautiful, and it's going to be very satisfying, this soup. Let me give it a little taste. Okay. That's going to be a great first meal for me. 2 whole organic chickens are going to get added to this. I'm going to fill it up to the top with water and simmer it for 12 hours. That's another thing I wanted to share with you guys, and that is for bone broth to be the most beneficial, it has to simmer for at least 8 hours. If you're making your own, the test is pick up one of the bones and try crumbling it in your fingers. If the bone falls apart by putting just a little bit of pressure, you've let it cook long enough. I cook mine for 12 hours because I don't want any chances that we didn't get all of the goodness out of those bones. And then I strain it twice, I package it, I freeze it, and I deliver it to my people. But you guys copy me, do the same thing that I do. You're gonna experience the most amazing health benefits. You know, when everything shut down last year and we were all more fearful for our health, we started boosting ourselves with more bone broth, eating it drinking it every day. We drink it plain, we use it as a base for our savory dishes. And I can tell you, honestly, nobody in my family has been sick, any kind of sick, in well over a year now. And this is why, because we use food as medicine, all right? So that is it for today, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching live or watching the playback. I'm so excited to have you here with me every week. And check out my website, www.mamaavi.com. That's MAMAAVI.com to see what I am doing. I have a blog that comes out every week. We've got our show with video. And then, of course, I have my Meal Prep Fundamentals program. This is how I teach mamas. It's my online course that I teach mamas how to meal prep healthy gourmet food that helps them to lose weight, to feel energized, to save time, and to teach your children how to eat healthy food. And so check it out, sign up for my wait list. Next week, our next video, we're going to be talking about the healthiest proteins. If you are an animal protein eater, which I think most of my people who are watching are, we're going to talk about what is the healthiest, what is the cleanest animal protein you can eat, and what's the best way to prepare it. That's next week, okay? That is it. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Hit me up with any questions you have, any suggestions that you have, and mwah, I love you.